Hey guys, just wanted to share my homemade broccoli cheddar cheese soup. It's fairly simple to make. It takes a little time, but well worth it. The flavor is amazing. I have added to mine the bacon. There's a few people in my family that like bacon. I prefer it more on the vegetarian style, which can be done by just leaving the bacon out. At any rate, it does have one grated carrot in it. I don't know if you can kind of see the orange. The cheese has all melted in. What I did is I did save my carrot top. I'm going to put this in some water. And what happens is if you'll look closely down there, you can see some of the roots coming in. This one, it started getting some dryness, but that's okay. The rest of it's nice and green. I use these in soups. I chop them up with scissors or with a knife, or I use them even to top skillets for breakfast, omelets, what have you. So anyhow, what you start with is you'll start with a yellow onion after you put about, I don't know, about this chunk of the butter in, about 4 tablespoons. I put a little more than that in to my, you can put it in a pan or a Dutch oven. I've got my Dutch oven that I make bread in. And just don't forget, if you use a Dutch oven, you're going to want to use a wooden spoon or a spoon that is not metal, because you don't want to scratch and scrape your finish that is done on this style of Dutch oven that is more of a non-stick surface. Okay, now, while that's melting, I should say, I cut up about 3/4 of an onion. A lot of people just use half. I use 3/4. This is one of the times that I will use a yellow or even a white onion. This one's yellow, had a yellow skin. I'm saving all of my skins for my compost pile. This is what I've set up in my kitchen. I keep meaning to do a video to show people, but basically what's going on here is I got a plant stand at end of season on clearance. So this was under $5, and I did it on purpose by finding 2 glass containers. I wanted glass just so it looks a little more aesthetic. I know, how does garbage look aesthetic? But I actually love it because I know that I'm watching the recycling process in motion, and my family gets the lovely time to see it also. The other things about these glass containers is instead of having to screw, you can just, they pop on. They have the little gasket right here that stays, and that way your lid just pops on, because I'm always popping them on and off when I take them outside. Got some shells in that one, had pistachios with some cheese for a snack one afternoon, so save the shells. That's all great for your compost bucket, or if you've got a bin or whatever you're doing, a pile. But anyhow, what's lovely about this is you can fit another jar underneath, because we need the 2-jar system in order to make use of all of our kitchen waste. I do not put any cooked products in here. This is always just vegetable product. I also do not put fats, no avocados, no nuts, but the shells work great. Okay, now back to the soup. So you're chopping this while your butter's melting. Then you, of course, take it off of your board. I usually just scoop my knife, scoot it right into here. You've seen that on the cooking shows, right? Then while that is sautéing on just a medium heat, like no higher than 4 in the melted butter, I chop up about, most people will do 2 to 3. I do 4. I like garlic, so I do 4. This is, of course, organic garlic. Going to grow some of this, not just for the bulbs, but I'm going to grow it for the greens during the winter so that I can cut them off with scissors and use them in soups and sauces. At any rate, after your onion has cooked in your butter for about 4 minutes, you are slicing up your little garlic cloves. Some people like to crush them in their little gadget or what have you. I just peel them by hand and I slice them up. So 4 of those, and I slice them fine. Then I put them in this pan with the onion after the onion's cooked for 4 minutes, and let the garlic cook for about a minute. While that's going, I take my carrot and I grate it with my hand grater. All right, so sometimes people use special tools for that, but I just go ahead and hand grate it while I'm waiting for the garlic. Once that's done, I put in about 2. You can put in 2 to 4. I like to put in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and I just stir it. And it's not runny at that moment with the butter. It's pretty chunky, but that's okay. We're just stirring it at about a medium heat so that it gets a little bit golden. And you can even catch it before it's golden if you don't like too much of that, smoky taste. And then what I do is I'll do that for about, takes about 3 to 4 minutes. And then while that's going, I continue grating the carrot. All right, you can see some of the carrot still there. Plus I also grated, this is the only thing I need to add to my soup still. I grated fresh parm at the end. At any rate, working on the carrot while this goes with the flour. After it's cooked for about 4 minutes in the flour, I add 2 to 3 cups of broth. Some people just do 2. I like 3. So I do 3 cups of chicken broth. Then I added in, should have saved my bags. Let's just go over to my recycle bin because they're in my recycle bin. There's my stock. There's this. While I'm talking to you, I should have put my biscuits from Aldi's in. At any rate, for some reason I always smash them up a lot. Added in this type of broccoli, added in 2 packages, and then there was this also, I know I'm making a mess. Need to vacuum anyway, again, but check it out. This was at Aldi's on sale, so I picked up 2 bags of these, one to save for another meal, but I put one of these bags into my broccoli cheddar soup, and I'm telling you, it's got amazing flavor. Okay, I did a taste test, not with this spoon. I always do it with a separate spoon, one taste, and then it goes into my soaking utensil cup. Okay, because I like to keep things clean. And yes, I was that way before this pandemic, whatever it's called. Okay, now, over here, these are the biscuits from Aldi's. So we're going to put those in. You put them in the oven at about 350 degrees for 7 minutes, or you can put them in microwave. I like to do them in the oven. So as you can see, my oven's all ready. It's preheated. So going to do that to go with the soup. All right, so after your 4 cups of your chicken, I'm sorry, 3. I put 3 in. You can put 4 if you want, but I put 3. All right, so after that, you put in your package. I put 2 packages of the broccoli, 1 of the cauliflower. It's different colors of cauliflower, just beautiful, that I showed you. You bring it to a boil, and yes, it's thick. Like some people will be like, oh no, there's not enough water to boil. Yes, there is, it's fine. Bring the liquid to a boil, then cover it and let it simmer. So I turn it down to about 4 while it was simmering. 4 minutes to about, 4 for the temp. So, and then I let that simmer for 15 minutes with the lid on. I did come over, you don't have to, but I did come over and stir it every once in a while because I was still working on my parm. But I had already grated the carrot, so the carrot had gone in here also, by the way, with the broccoli. If you add cauliflower, you put it in at the same time. At any rate, there it was, simmering for 15 minutes, and you're about done by this point, because now all you have to add when it's done simmering is your spices, about a teaspoon of salt, about half a teaspoon of black pepper, and about a 1/4 teaspoon. I like to put about a half of the paprika, and I actually do use smoked paprika. Gives it great flavor if you don't overdo it. All right, so then after that, you add in about 2 cups of, I like to do cream. Some people will do half and half, but I did 2 cups of cream. Then you add 2 cups of cheese. I used a triple cheese of white Wisconsin, yellow Wisconsin, and sharp. Then I put in actually a total of about 2.5 cups. I put in another half cup of a Spanish cheese that was grated. After you do that and you stir it in, it stirs in pretty quick. Actually, during that time, I had my bacon going if you're going to add bacon. But by this point, you're about done. So all you need to add after the cheese melts is your bacon, and then my final thing will be the fresh grated parm. And yes, there's a little carrot in there because I reused the same bowl. Everything was clean. So, plus my grater, you can rinse it in between and dry it, but I did not. We have the same, this is all going in the same pot anyhow. All right, so I hope that sounds pretty simple. It takes a little bit of time, but all in all, you can do it under an hour, probably really more like 45 minutes total, especially if you're not doing the bacon. I did break up the bacon by hand because I wanted it very small pieces. I did about 4 slices, took about 5 minutes total in the microwave, 4 minutes at full power, then 1 more minute at half power. I put my power down to 5. Mine goes up to 10. Okay, so that's more than you ever wanted to know about homemade broccoli cheddar cheese soup. I'm gonna go and get this into my compost pile that obviously needs to go outside. It's about time to stir my compost dirt in my bucket anyhow. And then I'll add some of my leaves from outdoors. If you can see in the window, I've got lots of leaves that I get to use in my compost when I need it. It's about a 2-to-1 for, 2 parts greens to, 1 part greens to 2 parts of my brown is how I do mine. Some people might vary that, and that's fine, whatever works for them. Okay guys, then I'll get this little buddy into, I'm out of clear glasses, so it looks like it's going to go into, this is so old that all of the measurements faded off, but when I'm in a bind, I will use this for another cup measure. But anyhow, now it's going to be used with a little bit of water for my carrot to sit in and soak up and start growing its awesome greens. These are about ready to be planted into pots, by the way, for my fall and winter and probably my indoor garden. Okay, you guys take care. Thanks for tuning in.